Hi guys, it's me ChazRHD and welcome to the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix weekend. It is a Thursday, I know, and the weekend has not properly started and it's a bit of a weird weekend, but of course it's Monaco and practice 2 does take place on a Thursday. But it's great to have another Grand Prix on the calendar come around and great to have all you guys here ready to watch along practice 2 today. No matter where you're on the world, hopefully you're having a good Thursday afternoon and hopefully you're ready to enjoy practice 2. By the way, as you can see, top left of your screen, I now have a countdown. Great news. So you guys won't have to, come into the stream and wonder, how long left until practice 2 or how long left during the session. That is now all sorted. The next thing I need to sort out is a lap counter, which I'll try to get sorted before Sunday. If I can't, then I'll try to get it sorted before the Canadian Grand Prix. But for now, I do have a timer, and that, of course, is great news. But yeah, what we're going to do today is quickly do a rundown of how I think the teams are going to do this weekend and how I expect them to be this in this practice session. Then I'll look at the Niki Lauda news quickly, and then we'll get into practice 2 and watch along that for an hour and a half. But before I go into the teams, let me quickly get rid of this so I can fully show the graphics of this. Let me first get into the results of practice 1. And here they are. So Lewis Hamilton was fastest of all, from Max Verstappen in second, Valtteri Bottas third, Charles Leclerc fourth, Sebastian Vettel fifth, Pierre Gasly sixth, Nico Hülkenberg P7, Kevin Magnussen P8, Kimi Räikkönen P9, and Romain Grosjean in P10. And then your bottom 10 is Daniel Ricciardo, Antonio Giovinazzi, Danny Kvyat, Alexander Albon, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, George Russell, Robert Kubica, Lance Stroll, and Carlos Sainz. So that is your results from practice 1. Of course, practice 1 not the most representative of sessions, but those are the times from practice 1 as we are heading into practice 2 in a moment. But now, let's first go on to Mercedes as we now get into the teams. And hold on a minute, I need to quickly redo this time because it's actually wrong now, which is annoying. So let me just quickly... Will it do this? Hold on, I don't think it will. Let me just quickly hide that. Hold on a minute, guys. I've already messed up. I knew it would happen. Hold on a minute. So, there you go. And there you go. I think that's now sorted. But let's now go on to Mercedes. Yeah, I think Mercedes, as we were saying in the preview last weekend, me and Nib, by the way, if you haven't checked out the last episode of the podcast in our Monaco Grand Prix preview, make sure to check that out. It's on the channel, one of the last videos we've done. We said, and I think it will become true, I think Mercedes will have the absolute best car this weekend because everything that is good about their car they have, or they need rather, to be good at Monaco. They have the best car aerodynamically and chassis wise right now in Formula 1. And even though, yes, mechanical grip is important here, normally teams with the best aero or chassis tend to be one of the best or the best team around this track. And I think Mercedes will have the best car in Monaco. I think they will not be in qualifying in the race. I don't think they'll be as far ahead as say Nib was saying in the podcast last week. I don't think they will be absolutely miles ahead, but they will be comfortably ahead of whoever is second fastest. And I think the team that will be second fastest is likely to be Red Bull, as we'll get onto in a moment. But yeah, Mercedes, I think, will have the best car. No surprise, they do have everything that you need to be good around Monaco in that car. Next up, Ferrari. Ferrari are not going to have a good weekend. Their car is not suited to a track like this. You need good grip all around from your car. They don't have that. They don't have anywhere near enough grip in their car. Just look at the final sector of the last Grand Prix in Spain, where they were losing about a second to Mercedes in the final sector. That's how poor Ferrari's aerodynamic grip is right now. So Ferrari this weekend are not going to be good. I think they are actually going to be quite poor. I wouldn't be surprised if they were closer to the front of the midfield and the front of the field. So yeah, not looking good for Ferrari. I think the best they can do is beat Pierre Gasly, who of course this year has not been performing at his best and has not been getting the best out of the Red Bull car. The best they could hope for is that Pierre Gasly continues to disappoint, and then they can be P4 and P5 and hope for unreliability ahead to get a podium. That's really the only way Ferrari can come away from this Grand Prix with any real success. Next up is Red Bull. Red Bull, I think, will have the second best car this weekend, and I think Max Verstappen will be absolutely on it this weekend to try and redeem himself for what happened 12 months ago at Monaco, where he blew what would have been, I think, a definite race win for him. So he'll be looking to redeem himself this weekend. Was very quick in practice one, and I think this weekend will be very, very quick. I don't think he'll have the ability, because of the car not being good enough, to be, fastest or second fastest, honestly. But you never know. If he does pull out an amazing performance this weekend, he could be right in there. But realistically, I don't think he will be. Now, let's go into the midfield. First, starting off with Renault. Now, I think Renault will be slightly better than they were at the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend. I don't think they're going to be massively better. I don't think they'll be at the front of the midfield or anything like that. But they will be more competitive than I think they were at Barcelona. The Renault car does tend to have, they tend to be stronger in the aerodynamic department than they do, say, the power unit department. So they shouldn't be as bad here as they were in Spain, but I'm not expecting Renault to still be that good. I think they are going to be hovering around P10, P11, that kind of area. But yeah, I don't see them being at the front of the midfield. I think that is a bit too much to ask for this team that has massively disappointed so far in 2019. Next up, McLaren. McLaren, I think, will further drop back this weekend compared to how they were in Baku and again in Spain, because as we've seen with McLaren so far in 2019, at tracks where aerodynamic grip is more important, they tend to be worse off in terms of where they are in the pack. So I don't think they're going to be amazing this weekend. I think they'll be in and around Renault, in and around that top, 10 or 10th, 11th place on the grid. But they won't be massively strong. I think for them, their aim has to be to somehow get a top 10 some way, because if they on race day don't get a point, I think they will be disappointed considering the car they do have. So I think McLaren, if they can somehow with one of their cars get into the top 10 in terms of qualifying pace or race pace, I think McLaren will be pleased with that, but don't expect them to be massively strong. Next up is Alfa Romeo. Alfa, I don't think are going to be that great this weekend. I know Kimi Raikkonen was in P9 this morning in practice 1, but I don't think he and the team are going to be that quick. I don't think the Alfa Romeo is good enough in the areas that it needs to be if they are going to be competitive this weekend. So for Alfa, I'm not expecting them to be that great. I think the only way they can really get points or be a top 10 runner is if we have chaos ahead of them with teams like Toro Rosso, Renault, Haas even, or even from the top teams. So I think Alfa are going to be really mired deep in the midfield for this weekend's Monaco Grand Prix. Next up is Haas F1. Haas, I think, it's kind of a weird one because you don't know what you're quite going to get with Haas. In practice one, Haas were actually quite good. They were P8 and P10, I believe. So quite good. But again, with Haas, you don't know what you're going to get on any particular day. They could be great, they could be terrible, they could be kind of just meh. You don't know what you can get with Haas, but I think this weekend they'll be better than they were last year at the Monaco Grand Prix. Last year in Monaco, they were so bad. I think this year they will be better. Not massively better, but they will be a contender, I think, for the top 10 with at least one of their cars this weekend. Next up, Toro Rosso. I expect Toro Rosso to have the best car in the midfield this weekend because in Barcelona, they were very quick, especially on race day. On race day, you could argue that they did have the fastest car in the midfield. They were that good. And because their car aerodynamically right now does look quite good in that midfield battle, I really do think that that Monaco, because this track requires very good grip in certain parts of the track, I think that will really suit Toro Rosso car. And of course, Toro Rosso do have a good record at this track. So I think Toro Rosso are going to be super strong this weekend in Monaco. And don't be surprised if Danny Kvyat is very quick at the front of that midfield. Next up, Racing Point. I don't think Racing Point are going to be that good. I think they're going to be basically where Alfa Romeo are, if not worse. Racing Point seem as though they right now have the worst aerodynamic or worst chassis in the midfield right now. Their upgrades at Barcelona really did not work. And yeah, they just don't seem to have that good of a car. And they don't look like they're really making any progress right now. And I think they are desperate to get to a track like Canada, where I think Racing Point will be a lot better off and a lot faster. So Racing Point definitely are not going to be, I think, a good team this weekend. And finally is Williams, who of course will be at the back. But before I go on to my next topic, before practice 2 gets underway very soon, guys, right now in the live chat and the comments, let me know, how do you think these teams are going to do this weekend in Monaco? Do you think Mercedes are going to dominate? Do you think Max Verstappen can go after Mercedes? Do you think Ferrari are going to be terrible? Who will come out on top of the midfield? Let me know in the live chat and the comments, and I'll try to reply or read your comment out as quickly as I can. But before I do, I just want to say, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, as I will be covering the Monaco Grand Prix weekend in full. I'll be doing a qualifying watch along on Saturday, a qualifying review as well, and then a race watch along and race review on Sunday as well. So don't forget to subscribe for that content. Bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there, or go to my homepage, then click subscribe, and also hit the notifications bell. And don't forget to hit the like button as well. But before I go on to your comments, guys, I'm just gonna have a quick drink so my throat does not die as usual. And then I'll get to reading your comments for, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Right. So now, let's get to reading your comments and seeing what you guys have to say in terms of who do you think is going to be competitive this weekend or not. Right, let me take a look at your comments here. Let me just see if I can find a start here. Air Force Boss says, I joined for practice for once. Great to see you here. Simon Cragland says, Mercedes fastest, not a huge surprise. Agreed. Hello to Duke Gaming, and yes, indeed, rest in peace, Niki. We'll get into that in a moment. Official JR, do you think Gasly was the best replacement for Ricciardo? If not, who should it have been? I came out and said when I did my predictions for driver lineups for 2019, I thought it should have been Carlos Sainz, because yes, Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen don't have the greatest relationship, but Carlos Sainz is definitely better than Pierre Gasly. I don't think we can doubt that. I really don't think that is to be doubted. And I think going with Carlos Sainz would have been better and would have made them more formidable than they are right now, because right now Red Bull only really have one driver that's really getting, you know, the best performance they can out of the car. And then you have Pierre Gasly, who's just doing what he's doing. Right, let me take a look at some more comments here. Let me just scroll down. Will F1 says he hasn't checked the results from FP1. Let me guess. Mercedes won 2. Williams 19th and 20th. Well, Williams not 19th and 20th. They were actually 17th and 18th. But that was because Lance Stroll, I don't think, really did any competitive lap times. And also, Carlos Sainz did not set a lap time because he had an issue with his battery. I think with the ERS battery. So, yeah, that's what happened there. Cyber Trader. Vettel team orders should be blown up. He's just slow. Okay. Abo Wada, I think that was, says Hulkenberg low-key the best driver on the grid behind Verstappen. I cannot agree with that. No way. I will say I'm not a big fan of Nico Hulkenberg. I don't see what the fuss is about with that guy, but there you go. That's people's opinions. Gina. Max will be close, I think. Maybe splits the Mercedes. I think if Max pulls out an absolutely amazing performance, then he could split them on the grid. But I don't think he'll get pole. I don't think he will. I just don't see it. I hope he does to make the race more competitive and exciting. But I don't realistically see that happening. I just really don't. Right, let me look at some more comments here. Abhishek, I think it is, says Mercedes will fight Red Bull whole weekend. Strategy will be important. Verstappen can win this weekend. Ferrari will be third best. That's all. In terms of whether Max Verstappen can win, it all, and it's obvious to say, but it's true, it does come down to qualifying, because if he qualifies third, I don't think he can win the Grand Prix at all. I just don't think he can, because I don't think he'll have a good enough car to keep up with the two Mercedes cars. But also, you can't pass at Monaco even if you are faster. So I just think it really depends on qualifying if Max is going to win. If he puts it on the front row, puts it in second place, he does have a good chance of winning, because then of course he can beat whoever's on pole into turn one. But I'm not sure I can say Max Verstappen can win this Grand Prix. I think his chances of winning aren't, absolutely zero, but they're not that good at all. I'd say at the absolute most, 15% for Max to win this Grand Prix. Right, let me take a look at some more comments here. Tonka Toy Truck, the junior drivers take priority nowadays. Crystal Racing, I just saw, says, I think Sainz might have picked McLaren to avoid Max. No, I think if Carlos could have gotten the Red Bull, he would have, because I think Red Bull, even though McLaren, of course, are improving and McLaren have made a step forward, Red Bull will definitely be closer to winning a Grand Prix and a World Championship in the next 5 years than McLaren will be. So I think it was more so Red Bull didn't want to put Verstappen and Sainz together, so they went for what do you call it? Yeah, Gasly instead, because they didn't want disharmony in their Formula One team. Right, let me read out one more comment and then I'll go on to a slight tribute about, of course, someone who sadly passed away earlier this week. By the way, just saw, I think, Cristiano Ronaldo at the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. I think he is at the Monaco Grand Prix today. I think that's who I saw. Simon Cragler, Max will definitely not win the race if it's dry the whole weekend. I think the gap is bigger than it was in FP1. Yeah, I think it will be bigger than what it was in practice one for sure. I think at most it's probably going to be 5 to 6 tenths of a second. Nib was saying that he thought it could be a second. I don't think it'll be that big. I'd be massively surprised if they could pull a second Mercedes on the rest of the field, but I think likely it's going to be 4 to 5 tenths of a second, the nearest car to a Mercedes pole position. But with now about 10 minutes to go, as you can see right there in the top left, 10 minutes to go until FP2. Let's now get into something I didn't actually want to do around this, time of year, or really at all, because Niki Lauda, as you guys may know, sadly passed away at the age of 70 on, I think it was late on Monday night or early Tuesday morning, but yeah, passed away, and it's so sad because we had the great news that Niki was, recovering earlier this year and was looking good and could be at a Grand Prix very, very soon. I was hoping that we'd have Niki Lauda at a Grand Prix by the end of this year to celebrate what is going to be another Drivers' and Constructors' Championship win for their team. But sadly, he took from us at the age of 70. Now, I just want to say I'm not going to do a massive tribute right here because I am actually going to do a tribute video to Niki Lauda that is going to come out between the end of the Monaco Grand Prix weekend and the start of the Canadian Grand Prix weekend, of course, in a fortnight's time. So I will make a video about Niki Lauda and giving my tribute to him and, looking at his career and looking at why, for me, Niki Lauda is one of the top 5 greatest Formula 1 drivers of all time. But as I said, one of the greatest of all time, great personality, never sat on the fence, always told you what he really felt. And I have to say, has the best comeback story in the history of sport. Anyone that denies that, I think, just doesn't understand the story of Niki Lauda recovering from that awful crash at the Nürburgring in 1976. And is one of my, and I think should be, really, for any Formula 1 fan, he should be everyone's, one of everyone's biggest inspirations, because he showed that no matter what happens, you can still get back on your feet and go again. And that's what Niki showed back in 1976, and for me does have the greatest comeback story in sport and one of the greatest comeback stories in the history of this planet as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, it is a shame that Niki is no longer with us, but sadly that is just the way life is sometimes. But in the live chat, guys, and also the comments, please, for the next 7.5 minutes until practice 2 gets underway, please let me know your thoughts and what your tribute is to Niki Lauda, who sadly passed away earlier this week. I'll show a couple images of the teams showing their tributes to Niki Lauda. By the way, Sebastian Vettel has a Niki Lauda helmet this weekend, and it's a very, very good one. Very good one. Great to see that. I sadly couldn't get a picture of it, but if you watch practice 2 and you watch the Grand Prix this weekend, I'm sure you will see it. But there you go, that's Mercedes and their tribute. But yeah, let me know in the chat, guys, what are your thoughts in regards to Niki Lauda, and what's your tribute to the guy? Let me know right now in the live chat. Let me find the start of these because I want to read out as many as I can. Hello to Jungle Brother, by the way. Great to see you here. Right. Crystal Racing says, really sad to hear about Niki. A huge character lost. Absolutely. Francisco says, Niki is an idol for me. I was really sad. I was. It took me a couple hours when I first heard the news. It took me a couple hours to snap out of being really down in the dumps. I was really depressed when I heard the news because he's such an inspiration, such a good guy. Tonka Toy Truck, sad to think that Niki felt he had no friends. I think that's because, I think, as I said a minute ago, he never sat on the fence. He always told you what the truth is and what he really felt. And of course, plenty of people don't like that. They want to be told what they want to hear, not what they need to hear, which is the wrong thing. You should always tell someone what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Crystal Racing says, Niki stopped racing years before I was born, but I always had some sort of awe for him. Yeah, I've always had a massive respect for the guy, even though I've never seen him, you know, race. I was never born, you know, in a time where Niki Lauda was racing in Formula One, but I've always had massive, massive amounts of respect for him. And I think the thing that made me have respect for him was the film Rush. I think that's what really woke me up as to what he came back from, because I always, when I first got into F1, I knew the story, but I didn't know the details behind what happened. And I think the film really makes you appreciate how amazing his comeback was from basically death's doorstep. Let me show another tribute. There you go, that's Ferrari's. Of course, he is Ferrari's, I think, second most successful or third most successful driver in their history. So, of course, this will also hit Ferrari pretty hard as well, not just Mercedes, who he was literally a part of for the last few years. Will F1 says, desperately sad news. He will always remain as one of the legends of F1 and motorsport in general. Absolutely. Prime says, I met him once when I had a VIP pass to Mercedes and it was amazing. I miss him. I'm honestly jealous for you. Jealous that you got to meet him, because I would have loved to meet him, because I just think the guy was such a cool guy and such a great character. Would have been great to, you know, spend only a couple minutes with the guy. Right, I'll read out a couple more comments in regards to Niki Lauda, and then we'll go on to get into practice 2, which is about to start in just a moment. Michael Arvin says, I met Niki in 1985 at the Detroit Grand Prix. Such a great man. I was 15 years old. I still hold this moment to my heart. Nothing keeps you down except yourself. I sat in his car before and after the race. And again, I'm very jealous of you for having that experience. That's something that I'm sure you'll cherish, because yeah, the guy, I think, honestly, if you look back at his career, it's a shame that people don't talk about him more. I think they don't talk about how great of a driver Niki was enough. He was the best driver in the 1970s for sure. And in the mid, or up, you know, from the early to mid 80s, he was one of the best drivers as well. He is absolutely an all-time great. And for me, if he didn't have his accident, I think he definitely wins the championship in 1976. And I think that would have really, you know, 3 titles in a row at the time for Ferrari, that would have put him down in absolute legend status at the time. But we are now, I believe, under 2 minutes away from practice 2 getting underway. So what I'm going to do is quickly hide this, and then let me just quickly get the timer ready for you guys. There you go. So you can see there the hour and a half thing. And practice 2 starts in 4, 3, 2, 1. And there you go. Practice 2 is underway. Let me just change this text. Remaining in FP2. New addition to the channel, guys. Hopefully you're liking it. I'm loving it, having this around. So there you go. That is the time left remaining in the session in FP2, as we do have already 3 cars on track. But and by the way, my suspicion was confirmed. Cristiano Ronaldo is at the Monaco Grand Prix this weekend. But again, before we get into practice 2, as it says there, Danke, Niki, thanks for all the memories and your contribution to Formula 1. You will be desperately missed in Formula 1. But now, let's get into practice 2, as the McLaren of Lando Norris, I believe, is just coming through the tunnel and now coming through the chicane, the Nouvelle chicane, I believe it's called, and now comes up to the swimming pool to start his first flying lap. I just remembered I need to start this up as well. By the way, this is not the current live order. This is the finishing order of the Spanish Grand Prix. I just haven't updated it ever since then. So this is not the live order. I will update it to the live order once everyone sets a lap time. But I just wanted to show a picture on screen quickly of Lewis Hamilton showing a certain celebrity sportsman around his car. There you go. Let me just do that. That's him and Cristiano Ronaldo about, I don't know, half an hour ago at the track, as Carlos Sainz has started his first run in practice 2 and his first run really this weekend, because in practice 1 he did not get out on track really. Well, he did at the end of the session, but he did not set a lap time because he has some kind of issue with his ERS battery, as he now comes through the tunnel, sparking away down to the Nouvelle chicane. And car looks fine to me so far. He is on the softest compound of tyre, the soft. By the way, we do have the softest types of tyre for this weekend, the C5, the C4 and the C3. And that'll be exciting to see what happens with that in qualifying, as we now have Lando Norris has just set the first lap time of practice 2. Let me just quickly put this picture on the screen for you guys of the McLaren coming out on track, or the McLarens coming out on track, as Kimi Raikkonen is on the medium compound and is about 1.1 seconds off the fastest time so far, which has been set rather by Antonio Giovinazzi. We've only got 5 times on the board so far, about to have our 6th time on the board, and Kimi Raikkonen goes second on the medium. But again, these times are not really that competitive. They're only just doing a warm-up lap really for the qualifying simulation runs later on in the session. But and here is, I believe this is Kimi Raikkonen, I think on another lap. Here is Daniel Ricciardo, I believe that is, in the Renault. Yes, it is. The man who won the Grand Prix last year and got pole position. He won't be doing that this year, but he wants to be competitive, as he goes P7 on a very uncompetitive 1:18.2, but that's a warm-up lap basically, as now he starts, I'm sure, what will be a proper lap, as it looks as though, as he bounces his front wing on the ground after clumping the curb, looks as though he is on the hard compound tyre, so he is saving tyres for qualifying and race day. Here is Lance Stroll in the Racing Point, Lance Stroll famously is rubbish around this track. So don't expect anything special from Lance this weekend in the Racing Point. Also, the Racing Point car is really, really poor around this track, as Charles Leclerc on the soft compound tyre is coming out on circuit. Stroll is now on a lap on the medium compound tyre. Crystal Racing says, and it's true, Lance Stroll is Lance Stroll, true. Lando Norris now goes up to second. By the way, again, I'm not updating the running order as of yet until we have everyone setting their times, because we only have about 10 times on the board, and we are about to have all the times on the board very, very soon. As here is Kevin Magnussen on the hard compound tyre through Raskas, and now is coming through Anthony Nogues. The final corner opens the DRS, and Kevin Magnussen only goes 6th. But again, I think I said K-Mag is on the hard compound tyre, so he's not really supposed to go quick on that compound of tyre. Here comes, I believe, Alexander Albon getting so close to the wall on the outside. The swimming pool section, I don't care what anyone says about Monaco, that swimming pool section of track will never get old. It's still a great part of the track. As he now comes through the final corner, and on the medium compound, I believe, goes up to P4. No, he's on the soft compound. The P4 for Albon. At the moment, we have 11 times on the board. They're not that competitive of a lap time. We do have Charles Leclerc now on a lap. Perez and Vettel are on an out lap, and then Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen, Gasly, and the two Williamses are in the pits. They'll just quickly put a different picture on the screen for you guys. There you go. This is a nice overhead shot. Let me just bring it back up. Overhead shot of Monaco. As I believe this is Kimi Raikkonen coming through the final corner. He's on, I wouldn't really say a qualifying run, but he's doing a few laps on the medium compound tyre. It is currently an Alfa Romeo 1-2 in Monaco, but it won't be for very, very long, as Charles Leclerc is currently on a lap. Sebastian Vettel has just started his first flying lap of practice 2. Lewis Hamilton is now getting into his cars. Alexander Albon goes fastest on a 1:13 flat. Romain Grosjean comes through the swimming pool on the mediums. Now launches it into Raskas. Car looks okay. Bit skittish on exit. And the same out to the final corner as well, as Romain Grosjean goes P5 on the medium compound of tyre. Charles Leclerc went up to P6 in his Ferrari. Carlos Sainz just went P5. As, who is this? That's Albon locking up going into Massenet or Mirabeau. I can't remember what that corner is called. It's where Martin Brundle famously passed Gerhard Berger once for a second place finish back in 1994. As Kevin Magnussen there locking up and going down or cutting the chicane. Grosjean there bumping over the inside yellow curb at the Nouvelle chicane, as a lot of traffic ahead here of Charles Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel goes up to second. Here comes Leclerc. He is on a better lap. Still, though, does have quite a bit of traffic. He comes through the final corner, opens the DRS, and Charles Leclerc should go fastest. He does not. He goes second, 4/10 off Alexander Albon. I'm sure the Ferrari can go a lot faster than that. As here is Sebastian Vettel on a very quick lap. He's done the fastest first sector so far. And now comes down to Nouvelle chicane. He's on the soft compound tyres. and exits the chicane. Now flings it left. Ferrari doesn't look awful, but it's definitely not the best looking car around this track. There's no doubt about that. He's only 0.2 of a second up on Alexander Albon. That shows you just how poor the Ferrari is right now. As he now comes through the final corner, opens the DRS, and Sebastian Vettel will surely go fastest. He does, but only by 0.1 of a second from Alexander Albon. So now we have Valtteri Bottas on track. And now Pierre Gasly. Let me quickly, if I can, if I've got... I haven't got a massive amount of time, but I'm going to try. As Alexander Albon now goes fastest, I'm going to quickly try to update some of the order. As we're about to get the Mercedes and Red Bulls setting a lap. So it's Albon from Vettel, then Leclerc, and then Kimi Raikkonen, P4. I think Kimi Raikkonen's lap was on the medium tyre, so that's pretty good from Kimi Raikkonen. As Carlos Sainz is being held up through the final corner. I think he backed off. But P5 is where the Sainz go. He stays 8th. Antonio Giovinazzi is currently in 5th. Got Lando Norris in P6. And then P7 is Nico Hülkenberg. 8th is Sainz. 9th. Well, no, 8th is now Perez. I'll quickly update that. So Perez going up there in the time sheets. 9th is Carlos Sainz. And then 10th is Romain Grosjean. 11th is Kevin Magnussen. And then it's Danny Kvyat P12. 13th is Stroll. I think Leclerc, by the way, is about to go fastest. Here he comes. And no, he doesn't. He goes 2nd. So Charles Leclerc goes 2nd for Ferrari, but Stroll is 13th. Then it is Ricciardo, and then Kubica, and then it's Bottas, Gasly, Hamilton, Verstappen, and Russell. So let me just quickly do that. As here comes Kimi Raikkonen, who is on quite a long run here. But yeah, Gasly 17th, Hamilton 18th, 19th is Max Verstappen, and then you've got Russell for now at the back. But let me just quickly put Leclerc into 2nd. Ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Here comes Kimi Raikkonen. He's on a slower lap, so he won't go faster here. Yeah, he goes massively slower than he did before. But the current running order running along the bottom of your screen is currently the live order with only 15 minutes gone in practice 2 in Monaco. As I say that though, Pierre Gasly now goes up to P12 on his first flying run in practice 2. I'll wait for those drivers to really set their first proper flying laps before I update the order. Here is a Toro Rosso. I don't know of who because I can't quite see the number yet. Who is it? It's Alexander Albon, number 23, I believe, is his number. So he is currently fastest of all around Monaco. Very good looking is Alexander Albon with his car right now. Let me just quickly put this on screen. That's Charles Leclerc when he was coming out the pits earlier on. As here we've got, who is this? Max Verstappen, I believe. No, Pierre Gasly passing Sebastian Vettel down the inside as he is on a set of soft tyres and is trying to do, I believe, another run, but has had a bit of traffic. So he's warming up, I think, for another lap. So we'll see what he does. By the way, we do have Lewis Hamilton on track. I believe on a lap. I don't know what his sector times are though right now. As here comes Pierre Gasly to do his hopefully first proper run in practice 2. But now we're going to get a replay, unfortunately, of Carlos Sainz through the swimming pool. Comes through the chicane. Turns in. And bit of traffic there. They didn't quite show the end of that, but they did show, and I did kind of see it. Carlos Sainz slightly clipped the inside barrier. Here comes, who is that? That's Daniel Ricciardo, isn't it? No, that's Nico Hülkenberg on a set of medium compound tyres. As he's on a good lap at the moment, only about 3.5 tenths of a second down on the fastest time so far. He's going to get traffic though. Kimi Räikkönen, that will affect his time slightly. He now comes through the final corner. Anthony Nogues, DRS open, and where does Hülkenberg go? He goes P4. Good lap. Very good lap by Hülkenberg, but Carlos Sainz immediately beats that and goes up to P4. So good there for Carlos Sainz. Valtteri Bottas now goes fastest on a 1 minute 12.7. That is quite a bit slower than Practice 1's fastest time. Practice 1's fastest time was a 1 minute 12.1. So he can go faster, can Bottas. Sebastian Vettel starts another flying lap on the soft compound tyres. I'm going to try... actually, I'll wait until Hamilton and Verstappen start doing some proper lap times. As Lewis Hamilton, as I say, that goes up to P6 on a 1:13.3. Vettel is half a tenth up on Bottas through the first sector, but at this track, the Ferrari gets worse as the lap goes on. As... yeah, the front end of that Ferrari just doesn't grip as well as the Mercedes or the Red Bull does. You can see it. They're having to take a second bite into turning the car in than other teams are. And I think that is because of the concept they have gone for in their front wing design. He is still, though, faster than Valtteri Bottas on this lap. I don't know, what, by the way, what tyres Valtteri Bottas was on. As Vettel gets traffic from Antonio Giovinazzi, I think that was in the Alfa Romeo. And now Vettel opens the DRS onto the pit straight and will go second. So Sebastian Vettel goes up to second and then lets someone else through. Let me quickly do an update of the order. So Bottas is now fastest from Sebastian Vettel in second. And then you've got Alexander Albon as we now go to an ad break. Let me quickly do the order for what it was before the ad break. Sorry about this, guys, but Sky F1 for you. They are very, very annoying with their coverage. I don't think they should honestly go allow ad breaks at all, but they do. Gasly is P5. P6 is Lewis Hamilton. And then in P7, by the way, guys, I will put a different picture on the screen in just a moment. I will update the order now, and then I'll do that. So Hülkenberg is 8th, Kimi Räikkönen 9th, and then Giovinazzi 10th. So Alpha looking pretty good so far. Interesting to see that. So Giovinazzi is 10th, and then you got Lando Norris, who, interestingly, he went out for an early run and came straight back in and hasn't been out since. So hopefully there's not an issue for Lando Norris, because he should be out there setting lap times and getting to know the track better with his car. Actually, hold on, it's not Norris 11th, it's Grosjean 11th, then it is Norris in P12. But yeah, hopefully not an issue there for Lando Norris in the McLaren. Magnussen is 13th, and then you've got Perez 14th. 15th is Danny Kvyat. 16th is Daniel Ricciardo. Be interested to see why he's that far down. And then you got Stroll in 17th. That's poor, but that's Lance Stroll for you. And then Kubica, Verstappen, and Russell. So that is for now, until we come back from an ad break. That is the current live order from Monaco so far in practice 2, with, as you can see there, an hour and 10 minutes to go. But now, I'll try to get a different picture on the screen for you guys of the action down on the streets of Monte Carlo. Let me see if I can get one. I'm going to try and get a picture of the Mercedes, which is currently fastest. So let me try to get that. And I've got one of Valtteri Bottas. Let me just put it on the screen for you guys. And then I think what I'm going to do after I put this picture on the screen is have a quick drink, because I want my throat, of course, to last the session. So there you go. That is now Valtteri Bottas. Let me just adjust it. There you go. Valtteri Bottas around the streets of Monaco, and is currently, I believe, fastest of all, until I'm proven wrong when they come back from the ad break. But guys, by the way, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, as we will be doing this for qualifying and the Grand Prix as well, when of course they do take place. So don't forget to subscribe for that content. And you can either do that bottom right of the screen, or you can click on my channel name, go to my homepage and subscribe. But the running order is now different, so let me quickly just update it. So Lewis Hamilton has gone up into second. Third is now Sebastian Vettel, and then it is Pierre Gasly in P4. Fifth, if I can do it correctly, hold on. Fifth is Alexander Albon. As Lewis Hamilton goes fastest, I'll update that in a moment. Leclerc is currently sixth. So let me just update that. So Lewis Hamilton now fastest around the streets of Monaco on a 1:11.9. That's the fastest time of the weekend so far. So Hamilton from Bottas at the top. Then it's Leclerc sixth. Verstappen is seventh, and then it is Norris and Sainz 8th and 9th. That's pretty good for McLaren. And then the rest of the order looks to be kind of frozen, as the runners from 10th down to 19th are currently in the pit lane. So Hülkenberg is in 10th. Then you got Raikkonen. As Carlos Sainz goes P8, I'll update that in a moment. Giovinazzi P12. P13 is Roman Grosjean. Then it is Kevin Magnussen. Then it's Sergio Perez. Then it is, who is it? Danny Kvyat in 16th. Then it's Ricciardo 17th. Again, I don't know why he is so far off the pace. We do know why Lance Stroll is off the pace. It's because his car's not good. Neither is he when it comes to Monaco. As I think Valtteri Bottas is about to go faster than Lewis Hamilton. He's only 15 thousandths of a second up through the first two sectors. As Sainz is now 8th. With Norris 9th. Valtteri Bottas does not go fastest. He misses out, but does go faster, but not fastest of all. By the way, Max Verstappen has just gone up to P3. So let me just quickly update that. So Verstappen P3, Vettel P4, and then it is Gasly P5. P6 is Alexander Albon. And then P7 is Charles Leclerc. And the rest of the order is what it is. By the way, Lewis Hamilton did that fastest time on a set of medium compound tyres, and they're a third of a second clear of the nearest non-Mercedes car. That just shows you how quick that car is around the streets of Monte Carlo. As he backs off on the pit straight. But I'm now going to quickly take this chance to have a quick drink, and then we'll get right back at it with just over an hour left in practice 2. Right. So now we have Pierre Gasly on a lap. On the soft compound tyres, he is going faster than he has done so far. Will he go up to P4 where he should be? Yes, he does. Pierre Gasly goes up to P4. Good lap, only half a second off the fastest time. Good time by Pierre Gasly there. Let me quickly update that. And in terms of the order in the top 4 places, that is what it should be this weekend. Red Bull do have a better car than Ferrari, so they should be on the second row. And Max Verstappen, by the way, has done a fastest middle sector and is only half a tenth off Lewis Hamilton right now. Let's see what he can do in the final 2 corners. Here he comes out of Anthony Nogues, and now onto the pit straight, and DRS is not open for some reason. He goes faster, but he did not open DRS on the pit straight, so either it's not working or he decided to not bother using it. But there you go. As Hamilton has come into the pits, we have Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Valtteri Bottas on an outlap at the moment. But let me quickly show a picture of Pierre Gasly passing Sebastian Vettel on track earlier on. Let me get that on screen for you guys. By the way, let me know if you are enjoying the timer in the top left and if you think it's a good addition. That is, of course, important for me to know going forward so I know what to do with these types of videos. But there you go. That's when Gasly passed Vettel on track down to the Nouvelle chicane when Vettel, I think, was holding him up. So, and we have Charles Leclerc warming up his tyres very, very angrily. His soft compound tyres, that is. Crystal Racing says the timer is good. Thank you. Jim plus X says smaller would look nicer. Maybe, yeah, I'll make it smaller, but I think for now it's good enough and it stands out. But maybe I'll make it smaller, but I think for now it's all right. As we have a yellow flag in sector 1. Down at turn 1, someone has gone straight on, I believe, because there is tyre smoke about. And it is George Russell in the Williams, who has gone straight on. He has gone up to 18th. So let me update that quickly. But that's all right down the escape route. And I tell you, he's very lucky. Locks up heavily the inside front going down to turn 1. He's lucky he didn't end up in the barrier because that could have been a massive crash. But there you go. But Russell 18th, Stroll 19th, and then Kubica 20th. I'm telling you, I'm hoping Lance Stroll is not going to be back there with Williams because that would be a sackable offence as far as I'm concerned. So Russell now to 18th. So Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc now has to do another warm-up lap. Franz, great timer. Matt Stanek, time and content is great. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. Michael Arvin, yes to timer. I'm at work right now. The whole office is listening to the call today. They have zero say in it. But thanks for enjoying or liking that I've got a timer there. I think I needed to include it anyway. To illustrate to anyone, just tuning in how long left into a session and then how long into a session we are in. I will get to work on a lap counter. I can't promise I'll have one for Sunday, but I'll try to have one by the latest for the next Grand Prix in Canada. But at least I've got a timer for practice sessions and qualifying. But right now, right now we are not seeing any car or any lap times or anything like that because we're currently watching Martin Brundle. And Chris Evans, not the one you're thinking of that plays Captain America. The British radio Chris Evans, as they're currently standing in the tunnel, Monaco tunnel, watching the cars whiz past. So I don't know what the lap times are because they are not showing them. which is annoying, but that's unfortunately what Sky do. Dexter Hall says, hey Chaz, what did I miss? Well, I think if you look at the running order, that's all you've missed so far. But as you can see by the top left with the timer, that's how long left in practice 2. And the running order along the bottom of your screen is the current order of practice 2. As we're getting some out laps and some proper laps in now. As Sebastian Vettel is on a lap on the soft compound tyres, currently going faster than Lewis Hamilton, looking good at the moment for Ferrari, but I'm sure Mercedes can go a lot quicker than they have. Puts it into Anthony Nose, massive understeer for Vettel, and that shows again the issues they do have with their car concept. Sebastian Vettel does go fastest, but only by half a tenth, and Lewis Hamilton's lap was on the medium tyres, so that's not that great of a lap time from Sebastian Vettel. Lap times are now starting to move about quite a bit, so I'll wait until we get a consistent order, and then I will update the running order as to what it actually is out on track, as it is moving all over the place right now. As Antonio Giovinazzi just went P5 for Alfa Romeo. Here is Kimi Räikkönen, who goes, I believe that's P9. Here's a good picture that I want to show you guys of a certain Lewis Hamilton, who I think is absolutely the favourite to win this weekend. Let me just get it on screen. Here you go. And let me just adjust. So that's Lewis Hamilton getting as close as he can without breaking his suspension to the barriers. A great shot. Here is the Haas of Kevin Magnussen, I believe that is, on his, I think, proper now qualifying simulation run. So let's see. Let's see what K-Mag can do. And 0.3 off Vettel in the first sector. Runs wide though. Runs wide. That's not that is not gonna help his lap time. That's gonna cost him some time. It also puts some dirt on his tyres as well. And K-Mag now goes through the tunnel. By the way, when it comes to why there is practice on a Thursday, I believe it's a religious thing. I believe it's because there is a certain religious happening or certain day that causes them to move it to a Thursday. And also, the sponsors use Friday to, sponsor themselves with the teams and the drivers. So that's why Friday is basically a promotion day for the teams and drivers at Monaco. As here comes Kevin Magnussen to the line, and he goes only P12, but he did not do the greatest lap I've ever seen. It was quite scruffy, if I'm being honest. And here comes Charles Leclerc, is that? No, Sebastian Vettel on another flying lap on the soft compound tyres. So it seems as though this soft tyre is actually hanging on very, very well, and that's not a surprise. When it comes to race day, it's going to be a definite one stop for everyone out on track, as he does go slower than he did in the first sector on his best time, but does actually for some reason go faster. I don't know what the F1 graphic was telling us there, but he actually was slower then, and now backs off. So Sebastian Vettel backing off on his lap, and I think he has actually ruined his tyres a bit. But I'll try now to update some of the order as it, swaps around. So Sebastian Vettel is fastest. Here comes Vettel locking up outside front. And that really did not help his tyres. Ferrari, of course, struggling with tyres in 2019. And also general aerodynamic grip. Bottas is in third. Then you've got Verstappen P4. P5... is Antonio Giovinazzi. Then it's Albon, Leclerc. Not Sainz, it's actually Romain Grosjean. Then it's Kimi Räikkönen. Will say again, Alpha looking a lot better than I thought they would. I thought they'd be terrible this weekend, but they've been very good. As here comes Antonio Giovinazzi for another lap. Gasly has dropped back to P10. And then you've got Norris in P11. And then, hold on. And then you got Kvyat in P12. And then 13th is Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. 14th, Carlos Sainz. I can do that, yeah. Then 15th, Ricciardo. Again, I don't know what's going wrong with him, but he hasn't had any pace in this practice session. I'm going to assume it's because he's not using the fastest type of tyre. Yellow flag in sector 1. Don't know what it's for. Might be another lockup down at turn 1. But Perez is 17th, and it's Russell, Stroll, Kubica. So that's the current live order from practice 2 in Monaco. We still have yellow flags, and now they're clear. So I'm going to assume someone went down the escape road at turn 1. Antonio Giovinazzi does another lap, but goes even slower. And I think it might have been the Williams again, but might have been Robert Kubica this time. No, it's a Haas of Romain Grosjean locking up very late on into the corner and then deciding to go down the escape road instead of crashing and destroying his car. It's a smart decision for once by Romain Grosjean. But talking of locking up and going down the escape road of turn 1, let me show a picture of a certain driver that did that earlier, George Russell in the Williams. And that car, as ever, looking incredibly difficult to drive around Monaco. It's not surprised because Monaco, you need grip and they don't have any of it. As Hulkenberg is now on the lap. By the way, I think you can probably tell my throat is actually going again. So let me quickly have a drink and hopefully it helps. So hold on a minute. Right, so hopefully that'll help. If I have to take more drinks of water, guys, then I will. But you know, my throat's not in the best condition today. But I think that's because I've been talking more so than I do. As Hulkenberg is on a lap and has done the first 2 sectors so far. And opens the DRS now on the pit straight. Where will Nico Hulkenberg go? Only, I think, P14. That's not that great from Nico Hulkenberg. And Alain Prost there, not looking impressed by what he just saw. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo. And he is starting a lap. Let me quickly update the order. So Hulkenberg is now 14th, and then it's Carlos Sainz in 15th, and Daniel Ricciardo in P16. But Ricciardo is on a lap that should, for him, hopefully improve his time. But here's another picture of the man who is currently fastest in practice 2, but I do stress that the Mercedes cars have not done a proper run on a soft compound tyre as of yet. And once they do, that time of Vettel's, which is I think a 1:11.9, hold on a minute, it will be smashed to pieces. There is Sebastian Vettel going down into turn 1. As we now get more pictures of Martin Brundle and Chris Evans. But I just want to say, guys, don't forget to hit this video with a like if you want more content like this. And also, don't forget to subscribe for the qualifying and race watch-alongs on Saturday and Sunday, which will be basically the same as this. And also the qualifying and race reviews of the weekend as well. Don't forget to subscribe for that. Bottom right of the screen, you can subscribe right there. Or go to my homepage and subscribe for more content like this. And also hit the notifications bell so you're notified as to when I upload or go live. But I just want to say also, thank you guys very, very much for 4,000 subs. I know I haven't actually made it public that we hit 4,000 subs, but we did. We hit 4K as Charles Leclerc goes down the escape road at the Nouvelle Chicane. We hit 4K, I believe, on Saturday, Sunday time. Somewhere around there we hit 4K. I think it was Sunday afternoon. So thank you guys very, very much for that. And again, we are progressing a lot towards 10K, which is the end of year target for the channel in terms of how many subs that I would ideally want for the end of the year. And we're only 6,000 subs away. So hopefully we can get towards that very, very soon. And I'm expecting by, say, Silverstone, we should be at probably 5K at the very least. So yeah, we're making some good progress on this channel, and thank you guys very much for that. As Valtteri Bottas just went fastest, let me quickly update that. And Albon went up to P4. Kimi Raikkonen goes up to P7. So Bottas now fastest from Sebastian Vettel in second, and then third is Lewis Hamilton. Here comes the Haas of Romain Grosjean starting a lap, I believe. And then fourth is Albon. Fifth is Max Verstappen. Sixth, Antonio Giovinazzi. And then you've got Magnussen, who has just gone up to P7 in the Haas F1. P8 is Kimi Raikkonen at the moment. Charles Leclerc not looking that smart in the Ferrari. As I say that though, he's coming to the end of a lap. Where will Charles Leclerc go? DRS open, or is this starting a lap? This is starting a lap, okay. I thought he was completing a lap because he looked very wild out of the Rascas. As we now go annoyingly to another ad break, so sorry about that guys, but I am watching on Sky F1 and that's what they do, so nothing I can do about that. So Grosjean is P10, and then P11 at the moment is Pierre Gasly. I will say though, Alexander Albon looks very, very good, very good. And I was actually looking back at last year's F2 to get, a further gauge on how the F2 drivers from last year that are in F1 this year, how they're going to do at Monaco. Albon, I think, was actually leading in Monaco last year, but then got took out in the pit lane, on the entry to the pit lane. So Albon is good around this track. Norris and Russell in the McLaren and Williams, not so much, but yeah, Alexander Albon, as I thought, is a very good driver and very, very underrated still. 16th is Sainz, 17th is Ricciardo. Now Robert Kubica has gone up to 19th. There has to be an issue for Lance Stroll. Why is he last? There is no way he's that bad. Surely he's running a different program or he's on a harder compound of tyre, because that, I have to say, is quite poor from Stroll. I mean, Perez is not, in terms of position, much better in I think 14 or 15th. But to be behind the Williamses, that is a crime, honestly. Let me quickly show this cool looking picture of Lewis Hamilton swinging it into the final corner. The one good thing about Monaco for pictures is that they can get as close as possible to the cars. So you get the best pictures normally from Monaco. Here's Hamilton. Let me quickly adjust. And there you go. And is currently third fastest until we come back from the ad break, which he'll probably be fastest. So there you go. Magath 88 hold on, I just saw that comment. I've got to read it out. I've got to read it out. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Sky brought the wrong Chris Evans. Yep, indeed. Indeed. Right, let me find some comments in the chat from you guys to read out whilst we're on an ad break. Crystal Racing, there's no live videos of practice because it's F1 copyright. Again, guys, if you don't know, the reason we don't show live, footage or coverage is because copyright. If I did, the channel would be gone immediately, and I'm not going to do that. How I do it now works, I think, very well and is very interactive, and I'm not going to risk my channel through copyright because, some people out there are greedy and they want it given to them. I'm not going to risk my channel for that. So, yeah. So what we do here is basically, show the running order, time left in the session, pictures of the cars on track, and what I do is provide a radio commentary, basically, of what is going on track. And, by the way, on track, Valtteri Bottas so close to the outside wall at Anthony Nogues, and Bottas he doesn't go faster, but is 0.6 of a second faster than Sebastian Vettel. As Lewis Hamilton has traffic and that's going to affect his lap, he might as well back off and go for another lap. But, wow, Valtteri looking quick. Either that or the Mercedes car is looking quick. That is a mega lap. I'm just going to quickly update the orders. Valtteri Bottas here. Replay. And again, so close to the outside wall. Anthony Nogues virtually kissing the wall. That's how you have to do it at Monaco. You've got to virtually kiss the wall at Monaco if you're going to get the most speed out of your car that you can, get out of it. Gasly has gone up to P6. Giovinazzi is now P8, Raikkonen is now P9 as Pierre Gasly goes up to P4. Good there for Pierre. And then you've got Leclerc 10th and then Grosjean 11th. Let me just update Gasly there. So Pierre Gasly, for now, in P4, ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen. Gasly looking pretty competitive in practice too. Albon P5 looking good, and Verstappen P6. So the current running order, running along the bottom of your screen, guys, is the live order with 42 minutes to go in practice 2, as you can see on the top left. That's a replay of Kimi Raikkonen getting very aggressive through the swimming pool chicane. By the way, thank you to Han Solo, who says, congratulations, but I still don't understand why you don't have more already. You seem to be a hidden gem. Thank you very much. And as Tonka Toy Truck says, I would already be at 10k I would have been at 10k probably by the end of last year, but I had to start a new channel because my old one wrongly got copyrighted to hell. But I'm not going to take that risk anymore, so that's why I have a channel that now has 4,000 subs instead of the other one, which I left at 5.5k in late June of 2018. As Lewis Hamilton, by the way, is on a mega lap, fastest of all in the first sector on the soft compound tyres. Thoughts on Albon? Isn't he great right now? That's from Gina. Alexander Albon has been one of the better drivers in the midfield this season. Very, very underrated. And I think people need to start rating him as a possible Red Bull driver for the future. As Lewis Hamilton, by the way, is about to go fastest in his Mercedes. Opens the DRS on the pit straight. Does he go fastest? Yes. By 0.03 of a second, Lewis Hamilton goes to the top of the timesheets. So, let me quickly update that. By the way, for any Lance Stroll fans out there, and there are a couple, Lance Stroll has gone up to 18th now. But Lewis Hamilton, now fastest from Valtteri Bottas in second. And then Sebastian Vettel third. Carlos Sainz has just gone up to P12. I think there's an issue with Max Verstappen's car. I don't know what it is exactly, but there is some kind of issue, it seems. Carlos Sainz has gone up to P12, and that pushes Kvyat to P13. Then you've got, as Bottas goes back to the top by half a tenth. Great battle at the top between Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. It's Norris, Perez, then it's Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, oh dear, Stroll, as Bottas had traffic. He could have gone way faster on, oh no, that was must have been a lap before that one. He did that. But yeah, Valtteri Bottas now fastest. I'll update that in a moment. As Mercedes are about 3/4 of a second faster than Sebastian Vettel and the Ferrari. Now, I don't think Vettel will be the closest car to Mercedes in qualifying. I think that'll be Max Verstappen. But he has not had... Oh, Lewis Hamilton! Down the escape road at turn 1. So that'll basically blow his opportunity of going fastest, because that set of tyres, you can see, are basically ruined. But a rare mistake there for Lewis Hamilton. And it's going to be him locking up the inside. No, he locks up the outside front. And again, lucky not to pile into the barriers. And yet those tyres are absolutely destroyed now. So Lewis will be probably coming into the pits and now be getting ready to do his race simulations. But I think Max Verstappen, guys, is going to be the closest driver to Bottas and Hamilton. But because he hasn't had the opportunity to go out on track right now on the soft compound tyres and do a proper qualifying run, he can't show that right now. So don't think that Sebastian Vettel is the closest one, because I don't think he will be. I think it will be Max Verstappen. And also with Charles Leclerc, I think that's down to traffic. I don't think Charles Leclerc is genuinely P10 in terms of speed. I think that's down to traffic and maybe a couple of mistakes along the way as well. Talking of going down the turn 1 escape road, as Lewis Hamilton is going to go for another lap. This is when Romain Grosjean did so about, what, 10 minutes ago? There you go, that's Romain Grosjean. As Hamilton, I don't think Lewis Hamilton is going to go any faster on this lap because his front tyres are really destroyed anyway. Super Duper TYS, I think it is, says, how cool would it be if Liberty let streamers stream and commentate? It would be great. I would honestly be, of course, for that, because I think we here at Chazza HDF1 could do a great job with that. But Formula 1 and Liberty, and this is an area where Formula E is definitely better in, they don't understand quite yet the possibilities of, what do you call it, of collaboration with content creators on YouTube. They don't understand the big possibilities of doing that. It can help. It really can help. It can also help their coverage, help ours. They don't understand that. At least with Formula E, they are a lot more open to content creators, but Formula 1, not so. And I think that does need to change from Liberty, honestly. But that's obviously me being a bit greedy. But I honestly think if they did interact with us creators more, it would boost them, especially on social media. As by the way, I don't know what the times are right now again, because Sky have cut to Martin Brundle and Chris Evans watching at the swimming pool chicane, watching the cars go through the chicane and going into Rascasse as well. So I don't know exactly what is going on track, which is annoying, but this is what Sky F1 does. And yes, Super Duper says, yeah, it could be a win-win. It would. Everyone would win in that situation, but Formula One don't understand that. Their social media presence has improved, but it could still be way better than it is. I mean, if you look at football, as by the way, Lewis Hamilton goes fastest of all by 0.08 of a second. If you look at football, they'll get people from the FIFA YouTube community to do collaborations with the teams or players. Now I know Formula One has done a couple of that. I think Charles Leclerc did one with a YouTuber. I don't know who it was though. I can't remember exactly who it was, but again, the possibilities are really big if they would open up to us creators, but annoyingly, I don't think they will, because I don't think they quite understand the social media game fully. As there you go, Hamilton now fastest from Valtteri Bottas second. We have 33.5 minutes to go in, and by the way, yeah, it was Arava. That's from Crystal Racing. Yeah, if they had just let content creators be close to the action, say, it would help everyone. But anyway, let's get back to the action as Lewis Hamilton comes into the pits. And let me just quickly check that the running order is correct. So with 33 minutes to go, it's Lewis Hamilton fastest from Valtteri Bottas second, and 3/4 of a second behind is Sebastian Vettel. Then it's Gasly fourth, Albon fifth, Verstappen sixth, Magnussen is seventh, then Giovinazzi eighth, Raikkonen ninth, Leclerc 10th, Grosjean 11th, and then it says Sainz in 12th. That's the issue. It's not Carlos Sainz in 12th. It is Lando Norris who is P12. Then it's Carlos Sainz. And then it is Danny Kvyat in P14. So yeah, Norris 12th, Sainz 13th, Kvyat 14th, and then Perez 15th, Hülkenberg 16th, and Ricciardo 17th. Renault are having a shocker around the streets of Monaco. They really, really are. And then Stroll 18th, who is literally, and I'm not even joking, he is closer in lap time to the Williamses than he is to the Renaults. That is embarrassing. Dexter Hall says, what's wrong with the Honey Badger? I don't know. I think the car is slow, because it's not like Hülkenberg is, massively faster. Hülkenberg is one position better off and is only 16 thousandths of a second faster. So that is, at the moment, how quick the Renault car is, 16th and 17th. And I tell you, if that happens in qualifying, those faces at Renault, well, they're already long. They'll be getting even longer by the end of this weekend. As Albon is on a race simulation. So now the cars are going to come out on track and do their race runs. So this is, well, the boring part of the session, because we don't know what times they're really doing until after the session finishes. And they're really just touring around trying to find out information about how their car performs with heavier fuel, and how their car performs on the certain tyres with heavier fuel. So guys, for the next 30 minutes, let me know in the live chat your thoughts of the pace so far in practice 2. What are your thoughts about Mercedes being as dominant as they are, 3/4 of a second clear of anyone else? What are your thoughts about Ferrari, Red Bull, Toro Rosso, Haas, Alfa, McLaren, Renault? What are your thoughts about Renault, especially down in P16 and P17? I know it's only Thursday practice, but this is the most representative practice session in Monaco. So, not looking good for Renault. And then, yeah. So let me know your thoughts on that in the live chat. For the next 30 minutes, we'll have a back and forth, basically, as the cars continue to tour around in Monaco. And I will, by the way, keep you up to date as to what is going on. So don't worry. You won't miss a thing. If anything happens on track that is noteworthy, I will call it out, as there was just a lock-up into the Rascas from someone ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Or no, someone ahead of Valtteri Bottas. So don't worry, I'll keep you up to date as to what's going on there. Yeah, make sure to put your comments or questions or whatever in the chat and I'll answer them. Let's see what you guys have to say. Will F1 says Renault are the biggest disappointment right now. They are. I made my video, by the way, if you haven't checked out that video, about how so far 2019 for Renault has been a disaster. This practice session is really showing that that car just isn't anywhere near good enough to where it should be. Renault should be around where Gasly and Albon are right now. That's where Renault should be with their car, but they're not. They're about a second off of that pace. Now, maybe on their respective laps they had traffic. Maybe they're running more fuel. I don't know, but it's not looking good for Renault, and I don't expect their drivers, after this practice session has finished, to be coming out and saying how great their car is, because it doesn't look particularly great at the moment. Lee Dustal Smith, I think it is. Sorry if I've mispronounced your name. Says, come on, Daniel Ricciardo. Warren M says, wait for the end of the session. Pretty sure Renault were doing their long run data this morning and will do quali setup last 15 minutes. Well, I hope you're right, mate, but I'm not sure you will be, because Hulkenberg especially was doing a lot of low fuel runs early on in practice too. And I think, and Renault have been out on track for the last few minutes or so, and they haven't done any kind of proper lap times. And I think that's because they're doing their race simulation. So, yeah, it's not looking good for Renault. Will F1 says, I've checked out the video about Renault. Thank you very much, Will. He says, seems that Ricciardo was fooled into leaving Red Bull and joining Renault. I'm still reluctant about saying that, because I think we need to wait a bit longer to say whether it was the wrong decision or not, because Ricciardo, you have to remember, he did not come to Renault for 2019. He came to Renault for 2021. And what Renault are going to be like from 2021 on. That's what he came to Renault for. So, we need to wait until, I would say, this time next year at the earliest. I don't think this year we can honestly say whether it has been a mistake or not. Unless Renault literally go back to where Williams are, which I don't think they will. But if they did, then yeah, I'd probably say big mistake. But if they maintain their level, which is deep in the midfield, not the front of the midfield, I think we need to give it time to see if they improve for next year and how they do, or how they are looking going into 2021. Because again, Daniel Ricciardo joined Renault for 2021, not for 2019. This is a project, not a, one and done type of thing. Let me quickly, before I read out any more comments, I'll put a different picture on the screen for you guys instead of the Haas of Romain Grosjean. Here is a Toro Rosso for you guys, if I can get it up on the screen, of Alexander Albon, who is currently P5, and I think we have to say, if Albon can consistently provide these kind of performances, I think Alexander Albon could be kind of a shoo-in for that Red Bull seat for 2020. But as I said, he has to do it on a consistent basis. Something Pierre Gasly was not able to do last year for Toro Rosso or this year for Red Bull. But there is Albon going through the penultimate, or not the penultimate, the final corner before the tunnel. Let me see if I can get another one on screen for you guys. And no, I can't. I will though soon enough. Jungle Brother says post-race conference only on F1 TV. Looking for Ted's notebook. Forgot about it if you don't live in the UK. Well, even for us in the UK, there won't be a Ted's notebook this weekend because I don't think Ted Kravitz is actually in Monaco. I believe I saw a story saying that Ted Kravitz will miss Spain and Monaco. So I think that is why you won't be getting a Ted Kravitz or a Ted's notebook even if you were in the UK. So that's a shame, but at least he's back for Canada. By the way, Canada, that track, not in terms of the track layout, but in terms of the facilities, it is a bit different to last year. They've finally updated the facilities at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, which is good. Right, let's read out some more comments. As by the way, nothing really going on out on track. Just people doing their race simulations. No, going off. No people going off the track or hitting a wall or anything like that. If there were, I would let you guys know. Red Surf Boy says, "What's up from Miami? Love the stream and new clock. Thank you very much from Miami. Thank you very much, Red Surf Boy. Yeah, it's a great addition. The clock, and that'll be staying for qualifying, of course, as well on Saturday. By the way, for everyone watching right now, please stick around until the end of the stream because I'll be letting you guys know as to what is coming up on the channel tomorrow, which of course at Monaco is a day off, the Friday, and I do have a video coming out and I want you guys to stick around until the end so I can let you guys know what that video is. It's a video that I've had to delay a couple days because of the Niki Lauda news, and I wanted it to not get in the way of everyone mourning Lauda after his sad passing. So there is a video coming tomorrow and I'll let you guys know about that at the end of practice 2, as we have 22.5 minutes to go. Right, Crystal Racing says, I think Red Bull left Red Bull to get away. Oh, no, he says, I think Ricciardo. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Crystal Racing says, I think Ricciardo left Red Bull to get away from Max. I think that is definitely a factor. He did not want to be a number 2 driver in a big team. He thought if he went to Renault, that soon enough Renault, and we don't know whether they will be or not yet, but he thinks that soon enough Renault will be a top team and he will be the number 1 driver in that team. He better hope that Renault become a top team. They really should be by 2021. If they're not, then their project has been a disaster. But I think definitely getting away from Max Verstappen was a factor because he didn't want to be a number 2 in a top team. Because when you're a number 2 driver at a top team, yeah, you've got a good enough car to go for podiums and the odd race win, but you will always, in terms of the team, your performance will always come second to what the team will ultimately want from their number 1 driver, which is for Red Bull, of course, Max Verstappen. And Solo says Ricciardo did not want to build on his reputation as a second best driver at a team. That's why he left Red Bull. Just as I said, that's true, I think. Will F1 says true, but Renault have taken a big step back this year. 2023 is more realistic at the moment, but it can change. I think 2023 would be way too late. Way too late. I don't think Daniel Ricciardo will be at Renault in 2023 if that is the year they finally become a top team. It needs to be 2021. They do have, I think people are forgetting, Renault do have plenty of time to be very competitive for that season. I mean, they've got, what, 18 months to build a good enough team and come up with a good enough concept for 2021. So it's not like it's right around the corner. They've got a year and a half to build a good enough team to compete at the top. So I think 2021 is a realistic target, honestly. Right, let me... And yeah, Crystal Racing pointing out that I said Red Bull left Red Bull. Jungle Brother says, Ricciardo will do for Renault what Mansell did for Williams in 1991. Give him time to develop the car to match his late braking style. But the thing is, I understand your point, but this is the thing. When Mansell joined Williams, or rejoined Williams in 1991, that car was able to go for race victories and podiums on a consistent basis. The Renault, at the moment, is struggling to be a team that can consistently finish in the points. I mean, if you look at this season, they've only finished in the points twice, or in 2 races in 2019. Australia with Hulkenberg and Shanghai with Daniel Ricciardo. They haven't had a strong start to the season. I think if Renault were in a similar kind of position to what Williams were in 91, I could understand your point, but I think because of the difference in where they are, I don't think it relates exactly, to be honest. Hello to Stella, great to see you. One of the mods, of course. Let me see if I can find any more comments. Matt Stanek says the notebook got axed, didn't it? Yes. Oh, yellow flag, sector 1. Another driver goes deep at turn 1. I think Sebastian Vettel stopped short of going into the barrier, I think. But yeah, with 18 minutes to go in practice 2, Sebastian Vettel almost going into the barrier. We'll have to see a replay to see if he did. Here we go. So I'm going to assume he locks up the outside front. No, inside front. And does he go into the barrier? Oh, Sebastian, you are very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. Locks the inside front, going down into Saint-Devote. And comes, well, inches away from hitting the barrier. Very, very lucky boy is Sebastian Vettel, who, might I say, looks a lot better in that Niki Lauda tribute helmet. That helmet looks great. I wish Sebastian adopted that full time because he looks great in that helmet. And it kind of looks similar to Michael Schumacher's helmet in the early 2000s. But anyway, I was going to quickly put a picture on the screen of Lance Stroll curb hopping at the exit of the swimming pool section. There you go. Lance Stroll currently P18, only half a second faster than the 2 Williamses. Lance is miles off the pace. He's having a terrible weekend so far. I know it's not a good track for him, but wow, he is miles off the pace. But there you go. Let me take a look at some more comments. I don't think I answered Matt Stanek's one, which is the notebook got axed, didn't it? It hasn't been got rid of, no. Basically, the notebook doesn't happen when Ted Kravitz is not there. When Ted Kravitz is at a Grand Prix, you will get a notebook, but if he's not there, then you won't. It's as simple as that. So yeah. Red Surf Boy asks, what happened to the Miami race? Well, I believe you maybe will know this better than me, considering you're from Miami, but I believe the Miami City Council or Miami City officials are still voting on whether they're going to have a Grand Prix in Miami, you know, in 2 or 3 years' time. So I think it's basically, it comes down to the city of Miami and whether they are willing to have a Grand Prix in their city. Because I think if the Miami City officials say, right, we are going to have, or we want to have a Grand Prix in Miami, Liberty will not have any doubts. They will go straight to Miami as soon as they can. We're literally waiting on the city of Miami to give their approval. I'm not too sure about the track that they have for Miami, or the idea of their track for the Miami Grand Prix, but it's really down to the city of Miami. If they say, yep, we're gonna have a Grand Prix, we'll have a Grand Prix, because I think Liberty are waiting for them to agree to one. So if you want a Grand Prix in your city, go to your politicians, or I don't know, if you can try and get in contact with your local politicians, try to, and ask about the Miami Grand Prix, because I think they are the only ones that can really decide it, your local politicians in the city. Right, let's read out some more comments here. Will F1 says, so Renault could be poor again in 2020 if they really focus on 2021. If in 2020 it's looking as though they're not going to have a good season again, then they should go straight into development for 2021. But I think one thing that will be very important in their development going forward is this season, because if they do have a poor season and they do finish, say, P8 or P9 in the Constructors, then they are going to have to make some big decisions when it comes to their management, in terms of the team boss, certain people in positions of, whoever designs the aerodynamics or the chassis or the power unit or other areas of the car. I personally think if Renault do not finish at the very least in P5 in the Constructors in 2019, I think Cyril will be gone, because I think Renault will not tolerate such a failure. And if they do finish where they are in the Constructors right now, I see a lot of new people coming into Renault. But yeah, if 2020 is not looking great, they should start the focus of 2021 very, very soon. Right. Let me look at some more comments here. Will F1 says Williams were probably faster than McLaren in 1991, but they didn't win the title as they had poor start to the season. Absolutely. That's why, for me, Ayrton Senna's best title win is, for me, without a doubt, 1991, because it was the first year at McLaren where he did not have the fastest car, and he still, not comfortably, but still held on from Nigel Mansell and Williams to win the drivers championship. So yeah, if Williams had had a better start to 1991, I think Mansell would have won the championship that year, but they didn't. But yeah, for me, in terms of Ayrton Senna and what his best title wins are, I'd have to say 91. His best ever season, though, Senna, is 93 without a doubt. Right, let me look at some more comments here from you guys. How long do we have left? 11.5 minutes to go in practice 2. By the way, nothing on track is any different. I'm going to actually, before I read the next comment, I'm going to try and see if I can find that picture of Sebastian Vettel stopping short of hitting the wall down at turn 1. And do I have it? Yes, I do. It's not the best picture, but it does show Sebastian in that position anyway. So let me put it on screen. By the way, Max Verstappen is finally back out on track. There was some kind of issue with his car. I don't know what it was. I'll try to find out in a moment. But he is back out on track, and I wonder if Max will go for a quali sim, because, well, he did do some at the start of practice 2, but he didn't complete it, so we'll see what he does there. Here is Sebastian Vettel on the left, stopping short of the barriers. Very, very close to hitting the barriers. But there you go. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Max Verstappen does. Right, let me get reading some more comments from you guys, if I can. Right, Corolla asks, is Verstappen still in the pits? Nope, he's out on track now. Crystal Racing says, Barcelona very unlikely to return for 2020 and for a very long time now that Alonso's probably retired for good. I'm not too sure about that. I think right now, by the way, of course we know the Dutch Grand Prix is on the calendar. Chase Carey has said, because we have 2 new races coming for 2020, that means 2 races from the pre-existing calendar will come off. Now, hold on, let me just have a quick drink to, cure my throat, and then I'll get on to this point even further. As I was saying, that means 2 races have to come off. Now, those 2 races, there's a lot of rumours flying around as to what they're going to be. One is not literally confirmed, but it is basically confirmed. The Mexican Grand Prix will not be happening in 2020 because the Mexican government, have pulled their funding from the Grand Prix. And I think they're funding a new rail line in Mexico City. So the Mexican Grand Prix is dead. This year's Mexican Grand Prix, I think, will be the last one for quite some time. The other one that I think will go for 2020 is the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim, because of 2 quotes that I saw in the last week or so. I think the promoter, or one of the promoters of the track, the Hockenheim track, came out and said that Hockenheim ticket sales kind of depends on Mick Schumacher, which is a bit worrying because Mick Schumacher right now doesn't look likely to join the sport very soon. But also said that it's not up to them whether Hockenheim is on the calendar. It's up to Liberty. Now, I think the people that run the track are absolutely fine with having Formula 1 as Max Verstappen goes down or cuts the Nouvelle Chicane. I think the people that run Hockenheim are absolutely fine with having the race there every single year. But Liberty, I don't think are as keen. So if I was to say now what 2 races will go to be replaced by Vietnam and Zandvoort, I'd have to say Hockenheim and Mexico. I think the Spanish Grand Prix will stay because the teams love that track, and also I think the president of the track said that they are 90% sure that there will be a Spanish Grand Prix in 2020. So for me, the 2 races to come off are going to be definitely Mexico, no doubt about that whatsoever, but also Hockenheim. And by the way, Crystal Racing, the Dutch Grand Prix will take place in May. So if they do keep the Spanish Grand Prix, it will be interesting to see where they move that Grand Prix to. Because, remember, the Spanish Grand Prix has never, or has not always been exclusively a May race. It used to take place, the Spanish Grand Prix, back in the day, in September or October. And I think if the Spanish Grand Prix stays on the calendar, that it will be moved to September or October. Oh, Max Verstappen kissing the outside wall, the Nouvelle Chicane. That was very harem-scarum there from Max Verstappen. Wow, that was... we need to see a replay of that. I just saw that at the last moment. Max Verstappen, exit of the final corner. Pretty sure he kissed the wall. But, yeah, the Spanish Grand Prix has, in the past, when it was at the Jerez track in Valencia, used to be in September. So I think that's where it might go to if the Spanish Grand Prix stays on the calendar. But anyway, let's read out some more comments from you guys, as we are now 5 minutes away from the end of practice 2. By the way, I don't know if Max Verstappen is on low fuel or not. It hasn't really become clear as of yet. But, and by the way, hello to Lair, I think it is, who says hello from Romania. Hello to you in Romania. Great to see you here. And by the way, the race in Vietnam is also confirmed to be taking place in April. So the first 4 races are, from what I can guess, are going to be Australia, Bahrain, Vietnam. Then I don't know, because you've got 2 choices. You've either got Shanghai or Baku. Now, Liberty is trying to move the Azerbaijan Grand Prix back to where it was in the first 2 years. They're trying to move it back to I think the middle or late of June. But apparently the officials at Baku are not keen on that idea. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And also, I think the city of Baku is going to be very busy at the time, because I think they're hosting European Championship football matches during the late part of June as well, because the European Championships for 2020, of course, takes place between June the 10th and July the 10th. So Baku might be a bit busy to have an F1 race there. And then, yeah, it will be interesting to see how the calendar shapes up. I think there will be a surprise for sure. I think Shanghai might go back to where it used to be. I think Shanghai might go back to being in October, because I think they'll want to keep Baku on the calendar more so at the moment than Shanghai, because of course Liberty loves street races and Baku tends to be a bit more exciting at the moment than Shanghai. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Right, let me read some more comments from you guys. Crystal Racing says, so I'm guessing Dutch Grand Prix will take place in July and Vietnam in October 2020. I think they just said that those 2 races, Dutch Grand Prix and Vietnam Grand Prix, will replace 2 races on the calendar right now, but they didn't say which races, and I don't think it'll be swapping in terms of what time of year it is. I think it will be swapped just, race for race, and then held at a different time of year. Jungle Brothers sorry about my throat. Jungle Brother says, Chazra HD, I could have watched FP2 on TV, but this is more interesting than Crofty and Duress to put me to sleep. Thank you very much for that. Hopefully I have kept you guys entertained in the last, 2 hours or so, as we are now 90 seconds away from the end of practice 2. And don't worry guys, I will do a quick rundown of what's happened in practice 2. I'm going to get up a final picture now for you guys of the man who's not fastest but is looking very, very quick in the Mercedes, and that is of course Valtteri Bottas. So let me get Bottas on screen for you guys. But the current order running along the bottom of your screen is the live order, with about 50 seconds to go in practice 2. So there you go, that's Valtteri Bottas. As we're getting into the final few seconds of practice 2, as Lewis Hamilton, I think, is coming out just to come back in again to do a practice pit stop. But yep, 30 seconds to go. as, who's this in the Ferrari? Sebastian Vettel, who I wouldn't say has had a bad day. I think he's had an okay day in his Ferrari, but definitely Ferrari not looking good, I think, going forward. As we now come to the end of the session, and there you go. So let me just quickly move this text, and now I'll put the FP2 has finished. So there you go, guys. Practice 2 has happened here on the streets of Monte Carlo, and there are some interesting talking points going into qualifying in 2 days' time on Saturday. Let's first start off at the very top with Mercedes, who absolutely by a country mile have the best car, no doubt about it. 3/4 of a second clear of Sebastian Vettel. That is pure dominance from the Silver Arrows, and they'll be looking to pay tribute, of course, to Niki Lauda by getting victory this weekend. Let's go on to Ferrari. Ferrari are as slow as I thought they would be. I don't think you can consider today to be good, considering the gap between them and Lewis Hamilton at the top. So not good for Ferrari. And I think if Max Verstappen could go out and do a final run in practice 2 on a grippier track and grippier tyres, I think Max Verstappen would put Sebastian Vettel down to P4. So not looking good for Ferrari. They look to be miles off the pace. For Red Bull, looking good. I think they do have the second best car in Monaco. Not as fast maybe as I thought they would be, but I think they do have the second best car in Monaco. Now let's go on to the midfield. Renault, very poor, P16 and P17. They've got to improve for qualifying, because if that's where they end up in qualifying, they have no chance of finishing in the points on Sunday. McLaren, looking kind of as expected, not looking too bad for McLaren. They can work with what they have so far. For Alfa Romeo, looking very good. They're looking surprisingly good. P8 and P9, I believe, in practice 2. Looking good for Alfa. Also, Antonio Giovinazzi looking very good for Alfa Romeo. So they could be a team to look out for in qualifying on Saturday. Haas F1 kind of looked to be where I expected them to be. Not too great, but in and around the top 10. Then you have Toro Rosso, who I do think, I know Danny Kvyat was down in P14, but I think Toro Rosso do have the best car. When they get the lap right, I think they do have Toro Rosso the best car in that midfield battle. And then you have Racing Point, who I think do have the worst car in the midfield. Perez down in, I believe, 15th. Not looking good for him. And Lance Stroll, not only is he P18, but only half a second quicker than Russell and Kubica in the Williams. Lance Stroll is so far off the pace. In fact, he's 1.5 seconds slower than the 2 Renaults and his teammate. Not looking good for Lance Stroll. And Williams, of course, are at the back. If Lance Stroll continues to be as poor as he is, maybe they can race with someone on Saturday and also Sunday. But guys, that has been it for practice 2 here at the Monaco Grand Prix. And of course, as usual with Monaco, there is now no track action until Saturday, where of course you'll practice 3 and then qualifying. So when it comes to Monaco, the next time I'll be live will be 1 PM UK time for the qualifying watch along on Saturday afternoon. So don't forget to subscribe and come along to that. Bottom right of the screen, you can subscribe right there, or go to my homepage and subscribe for more content like this, and hit the notifications bell. And also don't forget to hit this video with a like, but also I need to let you guys know what is coming up tomorrow on the channel. I will be uploading, and what it is going to be is a tech analysis from the Spanish Grand Prix. Me and Nib recorded this on, what was it, Monday? I was meaning to put it out on Wednesday, but because of the sad news about Lauda, I thought I would wait to put it out until Friday. So yeah, that video will be coming out tomorrow. It's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes long, and it's basically me and Nib, mostly Nib, analysing all of the new aerodynamic parts and all of the cars. So don't forget to come along to that to understand where teams have improved and what new parts they are bringing to their 2019 cars, so they can progress further during this season. But guys, thank you for coming along for this practice to watch along. Also, comment down below what you thought of this video, and comment down below what you thought of the pace so far in Monaco and what you thought of the results of practice 2. Also, don't forget, and this is critical, don't forget to join our Discord server. We have over 200 members in that server, and the Discord is the best way to get notifications for my videos and streams, and is also the hardcore Chazza HDF1 community, and is quite interactive in there, especially on a Grand Prix weekend. And also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Chaz6110, and check out my website chazzahd.com for more content like this. But guys, until tomorrow at 12 PM UK time for the tech analysis from the Spanish Grand Prix of all the new aerodynamic parts on the cars, and until Saturday afternoon, 1 PM UK time, live on this channel for the qualifying watch along for the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix, it has been me, Chazza HD. Goodbye.